Hey everyone, how's it going? So today we're going to talk about and this is a very controversial opinion, what I'm about to say here, one of my more favorite horror comedies, Ghostbusters from 2016. Got a nice steelbook for it from Best Buy a few years ago. Uh, very nice, colorful too. I really like it. I used the extended cut for this review, just throwing that out there. If you haven't seen the extended cut, much like the Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition, adds more to the movie and makes it a better, in my opinion. This is a Paul Feig film from 2016. Stars Kate McKinnon as Gillian Holtzman, Kristen Wiig as Erin Gilbert, Melissa McCarthy as Abby Yates, Leslie Jones as Patty Tolan, Chris Hemsworth as Kevin, Neil Casey as Rowan North, and there's a few other people I threw in there, but they're minor characters, so they don't matter too much. Those are kind of your main six. Has a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is higher than I expected this movie to have. But I kind of see why it might have that higher score than people expect. This movie is not as bad as people make it seem. So that's why I threw it in Bad Movie Week, because in my opinion, it's not a bad movie at all. But I think, and we'll get into this more, people more attack it because it's not as, they have the nostalgia for the 1980s Ghostbusters, which is a wonderful movie. It's really great. But that's just me. The budget of $144 million, the film made $229.1 million at the box office. It didn't make much of its money back. For a movie to be considered successful, it has to double its budget. So if it has a budget of $100 million and it makes $200 million, then it's considered successful. So this isn't the Ghostbusters of old, obviously. They are in it. Bill Murray actually has a prominent role in this as Dr. Martin Heiss. And you get a few cameo. You get one cameo from Dan Aykroyd as a cabbie, and you get another cameo at the end from Ernie Hudson as Patty's uncle, who owns a funeral business, gives them a hearse to use as their car. This is a great comedy in my mind. Yes, there's quite a few penis jokes. It's a 2016 comedy that's rated PG-13. There's gonna be penis jokes all the time, but it's kind of one of those things you just gotta deal with. Melissa McCarthy, while I'm not a huge fan, she's actually really good in this. And it's really nice seeing the comedian side of Chris Hemsworth versus the big tough Thor, who's always serious, and then in the later MCU movies kind of gets a little more jokey. You got a couple of SNL alumni too, with Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, Cecily Strong, and of course Bill Murray. They're always a joy to watch on screen. To be honest, if there's an SNL skit and has Leslie Jones or Kate McKinnon in it, I find myself watching it. I find those two to be hilarious, especially Leslie Jones. I just love her. She's so funny. She just cracks me up. And yes, I'm aware that Bill Murray played Peter Venkman in the original Ghostbusters. I actually have a pop figure of him over on my shelf. I'm aware of that, but this movie is not set in the same universe, so it doesn't matter too much to the film itself. It's not like, hey, you're giving Peter Venkman a new name. No, it's a completely different universe. Like I said, I used the extended cut, so it adds more joke. Again, they're penis jokes. There's in the beginning, there's a wonton joke about how Melissa McCarthy's character only ever gets wonton soup and only ever has one wonton in it. They go back to that joke quite a bit, and that can drag it a little bit, but other than that, I think some of the jokes are funny. I laugh a lot at this movie. I don't know what it is. The ending steps up the action from the first original film, in my opinion, but only just a little bit. It's not like, hey, you had this really classic ending, now we're gonna up the ante, people are gonna die. No, that's not what happens. The thing that gets weird to me about the ending, though, is when Chris Hemsworth's character Kevin gets possessed and he throws a dance party with all of the FBI agents and whatnot. That's weird to me. But again, it's not out of place in a comedy for them to do that. At the end, though, they, instead of using the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, they actually use kind of the Ghostbusters symbol and make it more demonic looking. I liked that, but it does add another joke. The monster gets hit in the lower regions, and yeah, another joke like that. It's juvenile, but who cares, really? I mean, we're all adults here, right? We laugh at jokes like that, or we make jokes like that, so big whoop in my opinion. The CG isn't bad, so it doesn't really bother me all much. In my opinion, this movie gets a bad rep. And like I said, I think that's based on the fact that people are more nostalgic for the original Ghostbusters, and now you're taking it, you're rebooting it. Why would you do that? This is a classic movie. Don't touch it. It's Hollywood. They do it all the time. You're going to see reboots of classic movies, whether it's in a commercial nowadays. I mean, there's been a few Ferris Bueller references. There's been a few Risky Business references. And remakes, I should say. So it's not that big of a deal. In my mind, though, this movie is a 7 out of 10. So yes, with the whole this being bad movie week, I took a movie that's notoriously bad. This is one that people, you say you watch it and they're like, why'd you waste your time? Why would you do that? Look, it's not in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, that's for sure. Maybe top 30, but I'd have to really sit down and think about that one. But it's not a terrible movie. It's not like a low budget, you know. One thing this one does do, it kind of steps up the horror element of the movie more. There's more like flashing lights. There's ghosts attacking people. It's like, okay, this is definitely a comedy, but it also fits the fact that these guys are hunting ghosts. So it's still that horror type deal. So that doesn't bother me. I did find Kristen Wiig's character be a little pretentious at moments. And she's kind of that uptight professor, you know. Of course, she is one in the movie. I think it was Columbia University she's a professor at. So yeah, she's a little pretentious, a little annoying, but what are you gonna do? I mean, it's a horror movie, it's a comedy, it's a remake of an 80s classic, so what are you really gonna do? My cat out there trying to break in the room. So tonight on Instagram and tomorrow on YouTube, we are going to talk about another movie that I think gets a really bad rep, and I'm not the only one who thinks this. It's a movie called Sleepaway Camp. If you want to learn a little bit about it and kind of more of an in-depth look than I'm going to really give it, because I may dive in a little bit to some of that stuff. But anyway, go over to Dead Meat. It's another YouTuber named, his name is James. He does a great kill count for Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3. And I think there's a fourth one. I don't remember. But yeah, he does a good job with those. That's how I actually found most of the horror movies that I watch now, aside from your Friday the 13th and your Halloweens and your Nightmare on Elm Streets. So go ahead and give him a look if you like him. Subscribe. I really recommend his videos to a lot of people. So, like I said, this is, back to Ghostbusters real quick, this is a 7 out of 10 for me. I don't think it's as bad as people make it seem. I definitely laugh a lot at it. I feel more engaged when I'm watching it. Obviously, it's not the original, so don't worry. I know. If I had to rank this in the list of the 3 Ghostbusters films that we've gotten so far, I know Ghostbusters Afterlife is supposed to release this year. I haven't heard if it's delayed or not, so I don't 100% know about that. This is probably my second favorite Ghostbusters movie. I don't find Ghostbusters 2 to be all that engaging, and the first one is obviously my favorite. I watch that one yearly at Halloween. So that's all I have for you guys. Come back tomorrow and check out Sleepaway Camp. If you like this video, please like. If you feel like it, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I will see you guys tomorrow.